The typical relationship between a wife and her mother-in-law often carries a negative image. When living together, it can escalate to a level of outright hostility. But in my case, it's nothing like that at all. I feel truly grateful to have such kind in-laws. My name is Sally, a 29-year-old working housewife. I live with my husband Mark and his parents. We didn't always live together, but in the third year of our marriage, my mother-in-law Teresa's legs got worse, and she couldn't move around as she used to. That was the start of our living arrangement. When they asked us to live together, I had my concerns. But since I had a good relationship with them, I didn't think negatively and accepted it. Living together didn't worsen our relationship, and our daily life was peaceful. We kept a good distance from each other and got along well. However, that peace vanished suddenly one day. Teresa was hospitalized due to the worsening of a chronic illness. It wasn't life-threatening, but given her age and bad legs, the medication wasn't as effective and her symptoms suddenly worsened. She had to undergo numerous tests, surgery, and rehabilitation, leading to a long-term hospital stay. And naturally, the burden fell on me. While my father-in-law, Jack, had always tried to handle household chores under Teresa's supervision, he struggled due to his age and old-fashioned ways. With Teresa gone, he kept making mistakes, and his body started to fail him as well. There was no way he could take care of Teresa in the hospital. As a result, I had even more responsibilities. After work, I had to clean the house, do the laundry, prepare dinner, and get the bath ready. After that, I prepared for the next day, including making lunch bags for me and my husband, and Jack's lunch. All this with a tired body from work. I'd want my husband to help, but he's been busier lately and comes home late, sometimes not until after midnight. But I have my limits too. So I asked, "Could you help a little?" When Mark came home late, he'd eat and bathe, then just lounge around. On weekends, he'd go out and hang out with his friends. I said, "That's not fair. Help out a bit." But he responded, "If it's that hard, why don't you just quit your job?" I said, "I can't do that. If our income drops, it'll be tough on the household." He responded, "You're making less than me anyway, so it won't make much difference." "But if I quit, it'll cause problems at work." "Don't be so full of yourself. They won't miss you if you leave." Wow, that's harsh, I thought, feeling hurt by his attitude. But one day, my frustration was suddenly resolved. Mark apologized. "I'm sorry for dumping everything on you. It's my parents, after all. I'll help more." I wanted to say, "What's gotten into you all of a sudden?" But I didn't. He suddenly changed like a different man. When I looked at him with a puzzled expression, I noticed Jack looking at me apologetically. Turns out, Jack had scolded him. Jack said, "I'm sorry for making you do everything, Sally. I should be doing more, but it's a problem if my son isn't helping. I told him to find a new job if his company won't let him take time off to take care of his family." Uh-huh. It seemed the words of his father had more weight than mine. But in any case, it was a relief to have his help. But it led to a new set of problems. I didn't ask him to prepare dinner, just to make lunch once a week. The rest of the time, I do it. Not much change. If I asked him to do laundry, he'd put too much detergent or forget fabric softener, leaving clothes stiff. If I asked him to hang the laundry, he'd just throw it on without smoothing out wrinkles. Can't he at least spread out the towels? Never mind already. I'd ask him to bring in the dry clothes, and when I came back from shopping, it would start raining and the clothes would be left out. So typical of him. I'd ask, "Why didn't you bring them in?" And he'd say, "They weren't dry yet." Unbelievable. He'd mess up cleaning and everything else. He had a knack for making things worse. I tried to gently correct him, but he never improved. I realized he wasn't gonna get better. So I was still doing most of the household chores, and my frustration only grew. But at least he worried about his mother. He visited her daily, which was commendable. I couldn't go every day due to my busy schedule. Jack, who used to visit often, had to stop due to his own health issues and seemed lonely. I asked Mark to bring his mother's laundry and check on her needs, but he said, "She uses the hospital's washer, and she messages me if she needs anything." He assured me not to worry because he visited daily, but he did nothing else. If nothing is added and nothing is taken away, it's a single malt whiskey. But my husband does nothing and achieves nothing. He's like a plain ethanol. While Jack used to bring messages from Teresa, Mark didn't. It made me uneasy, and I wondered if she thought he was unreliable. He said they exchanged messages, but she was a patient and didn't always keep her phone on. When she did reply, her messages were often unclear because of typos. Mark isn't here again today. What does that mean? Teresa, please check your messages before sending. With Jack still unwell and me unable to visit the hospital for a week, Mark remained useless. Frustrated, I took a day off to visit the hospital. Visiting after work and doing chores at home was impossible. Unlike my husband, who didn't have anything to do after getting home, I still had a lot of chores to do. So I went to see Teresa after a long time. She was happy to see me and loved the yogurt I brought her. That made me feel it was worth the visit. "Sorry I couldn't come often, Teresa," I said. "It's okay. Thanks for handling everything at home. I hope Jack isn't causing trouble?" she asked. "Not at all. He's just worn out from overdoing it after you were hospitalized. But he's feeling better with the healthy meals I've been making, and he should be able to visit soon." "That's wonderful," she said. Despite their age, my in-laws are still very close. But no matter how busy I was, Mark would be lounging on the couch, glued to his phone, even with my efforts to teach him household chores. We barely talked anymore. It made me wonder if we could even call ourselves a couple. Teresa noticed my sadness. "Are you okay, Sally? You look exhausted. Please rest and don't worry about me," she said, concerned. "Oh, I'm fine. I just wish Mark would help more, I admitted. I didn't want to complain to her about her own son, but I needed someone to listen. She sighed in agreement. "Oh, Mark. But then her next words shocked me. "Since I was hospitalized, he hasn't visited once." What did she just say? I couldn't believe my ears. She smiled sadly. "I texted you about it the other day. I know he's busy and all, but I wish he'd visit even once." Ah, that misspelled message. It meant Mark isn't here again today. Okay, that makes sense. Now I feel better. Not. So he said he had been visiting his mother every day, but he hadn't been visiting her at all. What's going on? I was scared but decided to ask her. "So Mark?" "Yeah? He's supposed to be visiting you every day." "He is?" We stared at each other in disbelief. It made sense now. Despite claiming to visit daily, he never brought laundry home or took anything to her. He wasn't the type to do this daily. I knew my husband's nature. Someone that diligent wouldn't leave laundry out in the rain. Could it be? I muttered, and Teresa looked at me worriedly. 3 months passed. I got used to the busy days, figuring out how to manage. I packed my bags as I pondered such things. I took a day off today because it was going to be hectic. And before I knew it, it was night. As I finished cleaning after dinner, I heard the door open. "I'm home. Ugh, I'm exhausted," Mark said, returning at his usual late hour, just before 9 p.m. Late again. "Welcome home. Still working late, huh?" I greeted him, and he frowned. "What's with that attitude?" "I'm visiting Mom every day, even when I'm tired from work. If you have time to be sarcastic, make a better dinner," he snapped. Normally, that would irritate me, but I let him get away, knowing what was coming for him. I held back my laughter. "You visited your mom again today?" "Visiting hours are over, you know." "Yeah, I told you. I'm family, so it's fine." "That's right. Sorry." "So, how's she doing?" "Yeah, good. She's getting better, and might be discharged soon." "Oh, is that so?" "Yeah, what's with that tone? You sound like you don't want her to be discharged." "You're a terrible wife, you know that?" His words made me furious, so I decided to reveal the truth. I moved closer to him. "Is she really getting discharged soon?" "Yeah, she is." "Are you insinuating that I'm lying?" "Yes, I am. You just lied in my face." "Excuse me? I did not lie." "Take a look at this, then," I said, leading him to the door to his parents' room. I dramatically opened the door as my husband looked around. "What the?" "Here she is. Your very healthy mom." "What?" He was stunned to see his mother standing there. "And she's looking furious." "Why is she here?" he stammered. "What do you think? She was discharged today." "She was?" "Yep, this morning." "That's right. Today, Teresa was happily discharged from the hospital. I took the day off to pick her up and handle the discharge procedures." "Why didn't you tell me?" That's strange. You visit her daily, right? Since you were there yesterday, why would you not know about it?" "Well, He couldn't respond. "And wait a minute. You just told me you visited her today, but she was discharged this morning. How weird is that? Who did you visit at the hospital? Her ghost? Ooh, so spooky." I mocked. He was speechless. Just then, a voice boomed. "You fool!" Jack, now fully recovered, was furious. "You lied about visiting your mother to meet your lover. Enough is enough." How do you know?" "We know everything. Thinking you wouldn't get caught is foolish." That's right. Mark was cheating. 3 months ago, after learning he wasn't visiting his mom, I hired a PI. Today was the day I'd planned for. You have no idea how long I've waited for this day to come. Switching from a joking attitude to a serious one, I silently handed my husband a large envelope. Trembling, he took it and opened it. "Divorce papers?" "Yes, that's right. I've filled my part. Just need your signature." "Why?" "Why? You're having an affair while dumping everything on me. Did you think I'd tolerate it? But I don't want a divorce. Oh, listen to yourself. You love Tara so much so that you need to visit her every day, right? How do you know her name? I had you investigated. The envelope has proof. I hear she's your coworker. Well, I've already spoken to your company. The alimony will come from your salary with your consent. Alimony? Uh-huh. And from your girlfriend, too. What? I met her when I spoke to your company. She broke down in front of her boss, but it's her fault. She didn't tell you? No, I haven't been able to reach her lately. She never shows up at the hotel anymore. Oh, whoops. And there's your confession. Every night with her. How lovely. But don't worry, you can be with her all you want from now on. She says she's moving back home after she quits her job, so you can join her. No, I don't want that. My husband, infatuated with this young coworker, had been cheating while leaving me with all responsibilities. At first, he claimed he was working late. After Jack scolded him, he lied about visiting his mother. What feelings could I possibly have to such a husband? Oh, Mark, I'm so disappointed in you. I didn't raise you to be this way. Mom. Cheating is bad enough, but neglecting Sally and me is worse. We're done with you. You're not my son anymore. Pack your things and leave. Her words were powerful. But Mom, I have nowhere to go. Just go to some hotel, I said, smirking. Then tearfully, he pleaded. No, I don't want a divorce, and I don't want to leave this house. I want to stay here. Of course he wants to stay here. All he does is dump all the chores onto me, eat meals prepared for him, shower, and just lays around. He'd enjoy the comforts of home, but it was too late. I smiled and told him, go to hell. And after that, my husband became my ex-husband. Yes, we got divorced. He and his mistress left their jobs and paid alimony from their severance pay. She moved back home and he tried to follow, but she slapped him and ended it. Now he lives in a shabby apartment working day laborer. He pays the remaining alimony from his meager earnings. Occasionally, he tries to return home, but Teresa shuts him out. I saw him leaving his parents' house in tears once and couldn't stop laughing. A few years later, I remarried. My new in-laws are wonderful. Peter and I had a lovely daughter despite my late pregnancy. Holding her, I said to him, I have a request. What is it? Can they meet our baby? I was referring to my former in-laws, who treated me like their own daughter. I lost my parents early, so they were like real parents to me. My ex-husband was a real jerk, but I loved his parents. Peter knew I stayed in touch with them, though he might not like it. I asked him hesitantly, but he smiled and said, Of course. They're important to you. Let's visit them. His understanding made me cry. My first marriage was a mistake, but it led me to wonderful people. I'm grateful for meeting such kind souls. As I thought about this, the baby in my arms smiled.